There's a riveting story in the book of Mark chapter 7. Very, very interesting story. And this story happens in a town called Decapolis. Jesus was coming off his boat, and then he met this demon-possessed guy. We're not told his name, but we're told he's just a demon-possessed guy. And he was very strong. No one could subdue him, because it's like this guy was cast away and he lived in the tombs and he was chained there. And the story goes that this guy used to cry day and night loudly, you understand, and he used to take a stone and cut himself. So when he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran to him and he said, "Son of the Most High God, swear to God that you won't torture me." Jesus had told him, "Come out of this man, you evil spirit," or "you impure spirit." And then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." And he begged again and again, he begged Jesus not to cast him out of that area. It shows you that these demons had a stronghold in that area. It shows that these demons had a control of that area. And this man was like their flagship, you understand, like the host, because we know very well that there's no spirit that has permission to be on earth without an earthly body. So it must move from this body to another body. And they didn't want to move out of that area because they knew Jesus will cast them away and far away. So they asked Jesus to cast them out from the man and to the pigs, because there were pigs. There was a herd of pigs around there. There were like 2,000 pigs around there feeding on the hillside. So Jesus cast the demons out of the man and to the pigs. And the pigs, of course, they rushed down the steep bank and drowned into the lake. So the guys who were attending the pigs, went about, but they reported, and like I think the whole village, the whole community, or the whole city, or the whole town, guys came to witness what really transpired. And they found the demon-possessed guy. Now he's not demon-possessed anymore. He's clean, and everyone is looking at him. So the crowd gathered, and the first thing they pleaded with Jesus and told Jesus, "Just leave our town, because we don't know Of course, they were scared about this guy. He's a guy who was a very scary guy. He was cast away. He was living in the tombs. Now he looks like he has to be accepted in the community." And even the guy was scared, and he even asked Jesus if they could live together, because now Jesus, by the time the guys told him to leave, he went to his boat and he was leaving. And the guy, of course, rushed and talked to Jesus and told Jesus, "Can we live together?" But Jesus told him, "Go back to your family and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." Fast forward to Mark chapter 7. And when you go to Mark chapter 7, you find that Jesus was moving down from the Sea of Galilee into the town called Decapolis. Now you can connect the two. He moved back to that town called Decapolis again. And upon arriving in Decapolis, there are men who came with a man who was mute and deaf. And they begged Jesus, "Place your hand upon the man." So we read the story whereby Jesus now took the man on the side there where there was no crowd, and he spit on his hand and placed his hand upon the tongue. And this is the moment where Jesus shouted or sighed and said, "Ephphatha." Ephphatha means be opened. So after the Ephphatha moment, of course, the man now started speaking fluently and plainly, and his ears were opened, and the man was healed. The moral of the story here is, if you go back to Mark chapter 5, that is when Jesus planted a seed. Why am I saying so? Because in Mark chapter 5, you remember when Jesus healed the man who was possessed, the whole community kicked out Jesus and told him, "Leave our village." And this the former demon-possessed guy, wanted to follow Jesus on his boat. But Jesus told him, no, you remain behind and go tell your family and go tell, you understand? So your family is more about your community. So this guy is like a mustard seed that was planted in that town called Decapolis. So this one man, this one guy transformed the mentality of the whole Decapolis area, the whole Decapolis region. Because by the time Jesus came back in Decapolis in Mark chapter 7, we discover that now everyone embraced Jesus and everyone knew who Jesus was. How did they know about Jesus? They knew him because the man who was left behind to preach the gospel, he transformed the whole village. My message today is this. You have a platform to change people's mindset. You have a platform to preach the gospel. And sometimes you always feel like, when I post, I can only get maybe 10 views or 5 views or 1 view or 1 like. I can assure you today that you don't need 10 million views. You don't need 1 million views. You don't need 1,000 views. You only need to change one person. And this one person can transform a whole generation. Don't stop. Don't quit in preaching the word of God. All of us, we have a platform. Each and every day when you wake up in the morning, you have a platform for you to speak and preach the word of God. You have a platform to transform people's lives. You have our WhatsApp status. You have your Instagram stories and your posts. You have your X space. Of course, you have your TikTok space. And you have, most of us even have YouTube. All these platforms, you can use them positively to impact a generation. You can see how Jesus used one man to change the mentality of the whole city. And the whole city, by the time he came back, knew about him. Because we are told he just went to the city like this. He just entered the city like this. And this man came with a mute and a deaf person because they knew and they heard that Jesus is a healer. From today, henceforth, transform a generation with a platform. Na neno litaendelea.